Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome to another transformational reading here with Rian. And in today's reading, we are going to access and discover some clues. You're about to meet your future spouse. Ooh, it feels like this kind of like mystery adventure thing. We're going to look for these clues. We're going to be anticipating these clues to let you know that you're about to meet your future spouse. So we'll find out what those are. And I feel like Spirit was like, okay, we already got some messages ready for you. So before we reveal what these are, I really love us being able to take a nice deep breath in and out to receive this collective reading, but also align our energies to whichever one of these group readings is calling to you, whether it's one of them or several of them. So deep breath in, loves. And hold that breath for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. And take deep breaths in and out as I read to you and reveal these cards, okay? To just continue to ground your energies to receive your reading. Be confident. Have confidence. Be proud of who you are. No one can judge you or put you down unless you allow it. You are divine. Believe in yourself. Let your aura shine. Be the best version of you. Oh, I love that. And what better way to attract your future spouse than to be the best version of yourself and attract the best version of them as well, right? Give and receive. Be willing to give and be open to receiving. You need to be in a balance between what you give and what you receive. Things that go around come around. Yeah, I'm really feeling to this what goes around comes around thing is like there's this really beautiful connotation about it. Not that classic like, oh, you did something bad, so bad things are gonna come to you and you're gonna get your just desserts, like that kind of thing. Like it's totally the opposite of that. I'm getting this vibe of like as you show your future spouse love and adoration, like you will get that back in return. As you support your future spouse when they are struggling, when you're struggling, you will receive their support in turn. And I feel like that's the ideal kind of relationship with your future spouse, right? This person that you're going to commit to being by for the rest of your lives is like this beautiful exchange, this beautiful back and forth where no one is being too much of a taker and no one is being too much of a giver. It's like the energy is constantly flowing and you're both benefiting from it. Oh, I love these. What a good combination, right? Okay, so let's get into the group reading, starting with group number 1 here. So let's reveal all your cards, group number 1, before we start talking about the various clues that you're about to meet your future spouse. Okay, so first out, we have a 4-leaf clover, great good fortune. That's a beautiful way to start the reading, right? It's a 4-leaf clover. Father. Ooh, interesting, interesting, interesting. Tree with grounding. Oh my gosh, it's like the picture that's on the back of all the cards. Wow, that's something. And then we also have moon with perception. Ah, lovely, 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 lovely. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is for some of you, your future spouse might remind you a little bit of your father. They might have certain traits or qualities that remind you of your father, and perhaps, you know, I'm guessing that a lot of those traits will be the positive traits that you notice within your father that you like about your father. But I'm also seeing for some of you that maybe it might even be like negative traits in this person. But for whatever reason, instead of repulsing you, then these negative traits, like they're like magnetizing to you, you know? It's almost kind of like, gosh, they're doing this thing that I normally find so annoying, but for some reason, when they do it, it's so endearing. right? And I feel like it's like this trait that maybe, you know, either you like about your father for some of you, or that you find annoying about your father. But again, for some reason, the your future spouse, when you meet them, that trait doesn't annoy you as much, and that's going to be a clue, right? That's going to be a clue, because a lot of times the future spouse tends to be the exception to a lot of the rules that we hold, right? Where it's like, oh, I will never tolerate this about somebody. Yet the person that we're romantically involved in, they tend to do those things, and we let them get away with it, or we overlook it, or maybe it doesn't bother us as much. You know what I'm saying? So they become like this exception to the rule, kind of like these four-leaf clovers in a way, actually, now that I'm reflecting on it, where, like, you know, most clovers tend to have the three leaves, right? But then some have the four leaf, and like quite the minority of them, and that's what makes it good luck. Okay, so I'm finding that um, when you come across this very rare occurrence, it's almost going to tune you in and let you know that something big, or I should say something, someone big and amazing is coming into your life. It's this change in your perception. That makes so much sense here. There's this change in the way you're perceiving something. So you're looking at love, you're looking at personality traits, you're looking at objects, belief systems, ways of life, certain foods, whatever. You're starting to look at things a little bit differently than you had before. And so there's like this shift that happens within you where you're turning into a different person than you are now. Okay? So that's a clue that you're going to be connecting with your future spouse soon, is when you go through some transformational process. All right? That, yeah, okay, now I'm seeing the picture here. That is grounding for you, that calms you down, that helps you sort of feel a little bit less stressed out about things, about life. Okay? I also see here, like, what's a key feature of this father card is like this kid holding the dad's finger. So, like, it's the clue that you're about to meet your future spouse is when you can finally truly say that, hey, I am ready to be vulnerable. I'm ready to set aside my ego and my pride for the sake of our love and our relationship, right? I'm willing to be vulnerable here, like a child is vulnerable to an adult, right? I'm willing to do that. And you're not panicked about it at all, right? You're very grounded in this energy. You're very at peace with this notion of surrender. So that will be a huge, huge clue that you are about to meet your future spouse, is when you can surrender. Surrender expectations, surrender all the doubt, and simply trust. And I'm getting here too that, you know, maybe some of you have very rigid thoughts about what your future spouse needs to be like, needs to look like, whatever right now. And I'm seeing here that when one or more of those things, you kind of loosen your attachment to it, your future spouse will be on their way. Like, I don't know, maybe it could be something like, oh, I really want my future spouse to have blonde hair. And once you come to that realization, like, oh, it doesn't really matter if they have blonde hair or not. It doesn't even matter what color hair they have at all. Like, this is more important to me about my future spouse than hair color. Then, like, once you start to become aware of those things, that will bring you closer. Oh, makes so much sense. King of Cups. Uh-huh. I'm sensing like emotional mastery here. Oh, the Devil. Wowzers. That's an interesting card to pop up. Ten of Swords. Page of Coins. Okay, there's like a lot sticking out here. Okay, I'm feeling like first thing that we need to look at is some of the imagery in these cards as well, because these could be like signs of the universe. So you might see them like on t-shirts, on the television, in a book, in a YouTube video, on a Google search, like whatever. So the ones that I'm sensing really strongly are snakes, dragons, and reindeers. So that's like an animal that I'm seeing for some of you. So again, with this reading, there's going to be lots of different clues. So it's more about what is resonating with you specifically that will be the most important for you to remember. Okay, so if animals are sort of like a big sign for you, then and you resonate with sort of animal spirits and animal totems and stuff, then dragon, snake, reindeer are big ones for you. Again, you can see them anywhere. Not doesn't have to be in real life, obviously. Like, I don't think there's any dragons that are easily visualized in real life out in the wild, unless you consider like Komodo dragons, this type of dragon. The other thing that I'm getting here is weddings. So as more and more people around you are getting engaged or getting married, or you're receiving invitations to these, it's a sure sign that you're about to meet your future spouse as well. It's sort of like this, the energy that matches up tends to travel together, right? So as people around you are getting married, it's kind of like an opening for marriage energy to come into your life, for example. um, I'm also hearing like kayaking, paddleboarding as well, regarding clues you're about, meeting your future spouse. So it could even be like you are finally at a time where you have the time off and the weather is good to go kayaking or paddleboarding or canoeing. I'm getting that vibe as well. Um, for some of you, it might even be related to like hunting or fishing season as well. So, like, I actually don't hunt or fish, so I don't know when those seasons tend to be. So, whenever that time is in your part of the world, where you can go fishing, crabbing, shrimping. My dad and some of my uncles really love to do that stuff. Or hunting, if that's part of your interest. Like, that is going to be another sign. It could even be, too, that your future spouse is an outdoorsy type of person, now that I'm seeing them. Like these two cards together and like the woods here. Is that they're a really outdoorsy person. So, as when you meet people, once you find out that some of them are outdoorsy, like that might be a clue that they could be your future spouse. Or it could be like someone that they go hunting with or fishing with is your future spouse. Does that make sense? Um, mm. When the weather gets warm as well. That's what I'm seeing here with this devil and the snake with the fire on it. So it could be as the seasons change to more like spring, summer, where the weather is warming up. Or it doesn't have to be like a big shift even in that direction where we're shifting seasons. It could be like lately we've gone where I'm at, we went through this like cold spell where like the temperature really dropped for like a week as it was warming, and then it just like dropped, and now it's like I think starting to warm up again because it actually like snowed last night, and it's been, it snowed I think last week as well, but before that it had been like weeks since it snowed. So I feel like as the temperature increases as well, that's going to be another sign that you're about to meet your future spouse. So for some of you, paying attention to like the news forecast will be a big part of this. Is there anything else that I am sensing? Oh my gosh, I never noticed this before, but this card has crabs here. Wow. So crabbing season. Also, since this is on the dragon card, it could even be that crabs are going to be a sign. that you're about to meet your future spouse as well. Like maybe you going out to eat dinner with your friend and you or they order a crab-based dish. Like, oh my gosh, one of my favorite things, even though in general I don't eat a lot of crab, is like crab cakes. Oh, let me know in the comments down below if you love crab cakes. And if not, let me just know like what your favorite food is down in the comments down below, because I love talking about food. But crab cakes, delicious. I do enjoy me some good crab cakes. So yeah, it could even be that you or your future spouse, or it could be like maybe you are going to the store and then you see like crab traps. Do you know what I'm saying? Or crabs are on sale at the grocery in the like seafood department. Um, or it could even be like the brand or the little icon or the mascot logo has like a crab in it. Yeah, I'm definitely sensing something like that. Is there anything else that I'm sensing as far as like signs? Oh, flowers. I'm seeing flowers too. So, like flowers blooming, that will also be a big sign for you that you're about to meet your future spouse, is when you start to notice like the little buds on flowers are starting to open up, or more and more flowers are blossoming and appearing wherever you're at. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Oh my God, I love these signs. Okay, so I'm sure you found at least one thing that really hit home for you. So commit that to memory. If you need to, like, save this video so you can go back and review it again later so you don't forget these signs that you're about to meet your future spouse, like these clues that the universe is giving you. And these clues, now that I'm talking about it, can also direct you into taking a certain course of action. Okay? Like, if you see this clue, Spirit is saying, like, move in this direction, say yes to this thing, go to that event, turn over here, keep driving down this road, right? Like that type of thing. So pay attention and follow the little breadcrumbs that the universe is leaving you to lead you to your future spouse. All right, loves? So thank you so much for watching. If you need a little bit more clarity, you just check the description box down below so you can see how to reach me for personal readings. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the love and support, and, you know, subscribing, sharing the content, letting the ads run. I love when people do that. Thank you so very much for all of your love and support. And remember, it's never too late for your happily ever after. Hey there, group 2. Welcome to your reading to learn about the clues that you are about to meet your future spouse. Okay? So let's get these clues revealed, and we're going to pull some more cards as well. So we have the scales. Keep your life in balance. Greco-Roman. Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Rainbow. Blessings. Oh my God, I love this. This is one of like my favorite signs ever. So that is a lovely clue. Congratulations on that. Then we have Mars with motion. So what I'm seeing here, first of all, is like one clue that you're going to meet your future spouse, or you're about to meet them. It has to really do with a feeling within your body. Now, Mars is this planet of like action. It can even be a planet of like aggression, kind of like a fighting sort of planet. And what I'm hearing here is a clue that you're about to meet your future spouse is when you feel like your energy is at a peak, when you feel like you have tons of energy to get out there, get things done, and also you have energy to like deal with people, even, is what I'm hearing too for some of you, you know, like, because it can be a bit draining when you have to deal with people, especially people whose energy is like on a lower vibration than you are. But this, in contrast, like the clues that you're about to meet your future spouse, it's not when you're feeling like fatigued, tired, down, bored, apathetic. Like, it's when you really have a lot of energy and passion in life, in your day-to-day life. Like, you wake up, you feel energized, you feel like you can get things done, you're looking forward to the day, you're looking forward to being and doing, being in motion. Okay, that's what I'm really feeling here. And with the scales, it's like sometimes, maybe you've had this happen to you before where you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to get up. There's so much I have to do today and I just feel kind of overwhelmed. I just want to sleep, right? How many of you have ever had those kind of mornings before? I know I have. But what I'm seeing here is that, as part kind of tying it in with this Mars thing, is it's when you're in that stage of your life or chapter where you wake up and you're excited to be awake. You're excited about what the day holds for you. You feel really good about the day, right? Like, I don't know, just like some of you, like I have woken up some days feeling like, oh, I'm so tired, I just want to lay in bed. But there are other days where I wake up and I feel excited and I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to do this today, or I get to see that person today, or I'm going to go hang out with friends, right? Or I'm excited because today I have a date with somebody, like whatever the case may be. Like when you wake up feeling energized, feeling excited, ready to get the day started, that will be a huge clue that you're about to meet your future spouse very, very soon. So when you're in that state, and for many of you, I feel it more as like when you're consistently in that state, okay? Not just like one day you feel great, the next day you feel bad. One day you feel great, the next day you feel bad. Like there's a little bit more stability there is what I'm getting. Because with the scales, like keeping your life in balance, like, yeah, it can mean about equality, but when the scales are tipped, like they're moving and they're bobbing and they're bouncing, but it's like balancing the scales so that they stay still as well. Now, this, of course, with the rainbow. So when you're seeing rainbows pretty regularly, I'm seeing more so in the sky. Normally, I say like if you see them on a t-shirt or on a sticker or whatever, and I'm actually sensing like in this particular reading that won't be the case. This is legit seeing a rainbow in the sky, like after, there was like some shower or some rain. Like as you start to see those with more regularity, it's a clue that you're getting closer and closer to meeting your future spouse as well. Now, with this Greco-Roman, this I definitely feel is more maybe an abstract sign, okay? Like for some of you, it could very well be that your future spouse has Greek or Italian heritage, right? But for others of you, I'm also seeing like getting a lot of references to Greek and Roman times. So like hearing about all the famous philosophers, going to a museum, and like there's a special exhibit on like a Greek philosopher or Roman leader or something like that. It could even be like with movies and cinemas where it's like a lot of the movies or shows that you're watching or are even recommended to you by like Netflix and Hulu or something like that, they are surrounding like Greek Roman culture, food, history, that type of thing. Okay, that's what I'm hearing for you. Or I'm also hearing like books. A lot of the Greek philosophers have books, and things that they teach. I think like Plato, for example, Pythagoras, like all of these people, they've written books, and I'm getting this vision for some of you. It's like when you go into like a bookstore, like in the US, like a big bookstore chain is like Barnes and Noble, for example. Like you find yourself in a bookstore, wherever it is, and you see on like one of the shelves facing out, so you're not looking at the spine of the book, you're looking at the cover of the book. Oh my gosh, your candle went out. I'll have to replace that after the reading. That you see some reference to Greece, Italy, Rome, or people from there. Okay, so I don't even know, like maybe you're just browsing around a bookstore and there's like this tour book, right? This tour guide book to Greece or to Italy. So yeah, so that's a very specific message for some of you that I'm getting. And maybe for others of you, you've been planning a trip to either Greece or Italy. And it might very well be that on that trip or so in the time surrounding that trip, either before you leave on the trip or when you come back from the trip, you will be meeting your future spouse. Wow, okay, blah, blah, blah. You will be meeting your future spouse in relation to that. So before, during, or after this trip, you will be meeting your future spouse. If that applies to you, okay? For those of you who have no interest in like going to Greece or Italy, like that doesn't mean go and buy tickets or plan your vacation there in order to call in your future spouse, okay? That just means that one of these other things is more pertinent and relevant to you, okay, loves? Let's get some more information here. Okay, so we have the Eight of Swords coming through for one. Oh. Also, I'm seeing for some of you, there's something about law and legality will be a clue as well. Like maybe it could be something like you got a parking ticket or you got a speeding ticket, and that might be a sign that you're about to meet your future spouse. Or maybe there's something where you're considering taking legal action. Or like maybe you're being served, or maybe you're being called to jury duty, or maybe you're being called to be a witness or testify on something. Like I'm really feeling that. And again, that might not apply to all of you as well, because this is like a general reading, and I've already, as I was preparing for this energetically, like I could already sense there's going to be a lot of different messages, and not every single piece is going to resonate with every individual, right? So just in this particular reading, it's true for all readings, but in this particular reading, make sure you hone in on what's truly speaking to you on that soul level, and then just forget the rest. Okay, so we have Three of Cups. Oh, why did I do that? Eight of Swords. Oh my goodness. Eight of Wands. The Star. And the Seven of Swords. Okay, very, very interesting. So the first thing that caught my eye right off the bat is these lotus flowers here. So the lotus flower could be a sign, that you're about to meet your future spouse. So with this particular lotus flower, I don't think so much that it necessarily means you have to see one in real life, but I'm also seeing images of a lotus flower. Like I know many places like spas, for example, or yoga centers, like the lotus is one of those images that is often part of the branding in the store. I've been to like some massage, is it like massage parlor? Is that what they're called? Where like in the lobby area where you check in, they have like this big vase type thing or like bowl, and it's filled with water, and they put like the lotus flowers in there, and then it kind of like floats to kind of create that tranquil environment. So I'm feeling like that could be definitely a big sign for you, is noticing the lotus. And I'm also hearing tea. Tea is going to be a big sign as well. I might have to come back to explain the tea a little bit more, because like nothing is really coming through to clarify that. The other thing here that I'm seeing is like a blackbird, so like a crow or a raven is what I'm seeing. So when you start seeing a lot of crows, a lot of ravens, take that as a sign that you are getting closer and closer to your future spouse, to meeting with them. I'm also seeing farm animals. I know that's kind of broad. And so with that one, I'm seeing this has to be more real life. Like the lotus flower we talked about, it could be like an image, part of a branding, like a logo, an icon type thing. But with farm animals, I'm seeing like, you know, if you go driving, like seeing live farm animals, whether that's sheep, donkeys, cows, horses. I'm definitely sensing like one of those types of animals, goats even. So if as you start to see more and more of them, I get the sense too you're getting closer to meeting your future spouse. This is interesting. There's something here about like forest fires as well, which I wasn't really expecting to see. Now, I know forest fires are like very dangerous and they bring about a lot of devastation, but what I'm hearing is that it could be around the time where there might be forest fires. So, like, for example, unfortunately, forest fires have really been a big occurrence and a recurring event in the Pacific Northwest as well as like California for the past several years. And so that's usually in like the summertime, right? So unfortunately, even though it's a very devastating event for the surrounding wilderness, the surrounding forests, and the creatures that live within, that's also a sign that you are about to meet your future spouse. So very, very interesting, kind of like an unexpected sign, to be quite honest with you. I'm also seeing here another animal. Now, this could be either on like some kind of logo, t shirt, movie, TV show, that a wolf. A wolf, for some of you, even a coyote. So I know some people live in places where there are coyotes that you can kind of see from your house, like going out through the yard, or off in the distance in the desert or whatever, but also like wolf. So seeing a wolf in real life or a coyote in real life, hopefully like you're safe and protected, right? Like that there's no danger to you posed by the wild animal. But I'm also hearing too, like on television. So one thing that came through is like the word werewolves. So if you're starting to see like TV shows that have a werewolf character on it, or if it's showing up on your list of recommendations on Netflix or Hulu where the story includes or revolves around werewolves, right? Like I'm thinking, back in the day, there's like Vampire Diaries and The Originals and Teen Wolf, right? So if those things start to show up on like your recommended watch list, that will also be a sign for you. Or I'm also hearing like search other media, like books. Like if there's some books where like there's a wolf on the cover or a coyote, or the book is about werewolves, like if you're starting to see those, like I read a lot of Kindle. My gosh, I read like 40 to 50 books last year on Kindle Unlimited. I know, crazy, right? But I do love my romances, and especially the supernatural ones. And so there have been like a few recommendations in the past where it's like it surrounds like werewolves and like alphas and omegas and betas, right? I haven't gotten those as much lately because I've been reading like a literary RPG series. But so when those kind of recommendations start to shift, do you know what I'm saying? And or like catch your eye, where you're like, oh, wow, it's interesting that they're recommending this book that I used to read that kind of book before and haven't in a while. So let me just check what it's about. And if you feel like, oh, this book sounds interesting, and you start reading it, like that will be like one of those first steps. Um, With the star card, what's so interesting is I'm sensing something about astrology coming through. So we talked about like the lamb, the sheep, the ram, whatever. Um, but there's something about astrology. So I'm hearing that there's like when major things are happening in astrology as well that have some impact on your personal chart. So like, super moon, Mercury retrogrades, new moon, full moon, like those type of events that are like that happen in astrology but have a big effect on your natal chart. So I feel like that's very specific. So for those of you that understand a little bit of astrology and you know about your birth chart and how to look at transits and stuff, like that will also be a big clue and a confirmation for you that there's a high chance of meeting your future spouse in a certain time frame when these astrological events are happening, are in place. Um, Let me see if there's anything else. So, okay, what came through here, because I see all these swords, is museum. So if you go to a museum exhibit and they have like weapons on display, that will also be a sign that you're about to meet your future spouse. Like I remember I went to, I think it I don't remember the name of the museum now off the top of my head, but it was one in New York by Central Park. Like I went in and I went walking around with my friends, and they had this whole, it was really cool actually, this whole display of like knight's armor. And I was like, oh my God, that stuff looks so heavy. How could people actually move around and wear that? Like, it's insane. But it was so cool to see it. And they even had like the armor that the horses would wear, like the little headpiece and the saddles. But they had all the weaponry, the shields, the swords. And I was like, not expecting, like, that was the only museum I've ever been to where I've seen that type of display. Um, of knight's armor and weaponry. So that would also be a big sign for many of you. And, you know, so weird. The other day, too, I went to like a town here in Washington with my friends, and there was this rock. It was like a installation, like an art piece that had three swords like sticking out of it, kind of like, you know, the Excalibur stone. And it was just this art display, like totally random in this like kind of out there town that I have heard of but never ever been to before. And we go to the waterfront, and there's this huge stone there with three rocks, three swords coming out of the rock. And my friend took pictures of it. They looked really good too. But I'm like, what? So random. So something like that would also be a sign, okay? So, ooh, that was a lot of messages there, love. So thank you for hanging in there. I trust that you can have a good sense of which ones resonate with you. Make sure you save this video in case you need to come back to it to remind yourself, okay? Because I get that sense with this video in particular that some of you may want to come back, and you're going to see one of these signs and be like, I think this is what they were talking about. And then you can come back to the video and be like, okay, it is. It totally is. And get reminded, you know? So if you need any further clarification, though, for whatever reason, beyond this group reading, then just take a look at the description box down below, and you can see how to request a personal reading from me. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for always supporting my channel here with the likes, subscribes, comments, and letting the ads run. I truly appreciate it. Remember though, loves, it's never too late for your happily ever after. Hey there, Group 3, and welcome to your reading to learn about the clues that you'll have or see when you're about to meet your future spouse. So let's reveal these cards, and we're going to draw some more in a moment to get more clues. So we have bag, something important, such as a new job or a raise. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Who doesn't love a raise? Food and hunger. Oh, very, very interesting. And we have like this piece of bread and like a mug there. We have spring equinox, rebirth. I believe the spring equinox is about to come very, very soon, if it hadn't already by the time you're watching this video, because I'm recording ahead. Solar calm, clarify. Ooh, okay. So there's a few things already kind of like jumping out. So obviously we talked about this. So when something really exciting happens in your career, that's also going to be a sign that you're about to meet your future spouse. Whether that's a new job or a raise or a promotion, or maybe like a merger, or partnering up with a new business partner or a new company, right? Like, or maybe it's your job or company's anniversary, right? Like this year, as I'm recording this, it's like Disney's 100th anniversary. Do you know what I'm saying? And then this game that I've been playing for a while, Marvel Strike Force. Let me know if you play Marvel Strike Force down in the comments below. I doubt many of you do. But its 5th anniversary is in March. So this month. So like something like that, something really big related to your work. So some type of anniversary, some type of promotion, raise, big partnership, celebration, something like that is gonna be a big clue that you're about to meet your future spouse. And really what I'm seeing here with this, with the hunger, it's not even so much hunger. It's more like the absence of hunger, actually, when it comes to this, right? Because when you get a raise, when something big happens, usually there's like bonuses or whatever, right? And so you're not really hungry in that sense where like you don't have money or something, you know? So this was pretty straightforward. We have spring equinox. I'm also seeing very clearly that butterflies and bunny rabbits are going to be a big sign for you as well. Like if you're anything like me, nature, I really have this connection with nature, and nature likes to communicate with me through animals. So when I see butterflies, it's like the universe telling me like, hey, you're on the right track. Things are going well. No need to worry. Or if I see bunnies, like bunnies to me symbolize like movement, activity, abundance, right? That things are going to be taking a turn for the better when it comes to finances. So whatever these animals mean to you, the important thing is that you see them. Okay, whenever you see them and when you start seeing them in greater frequency or more often, then that's going to be a sign that for sure you are about to meet your future spouse. Okay, so what else do we have here? Solar calm. So, what I'm getting here for those of you that follow astrology, um, quite often there are times where there is always like some planet in retrograde. And there are rarely times when they are not. So this month of March, there aren't really any planets in retrograde, which doesn't happen very often. Usually there's like one. So whenever there's a space in time where there isn't a planet actively in retrograde, then that will be a sign as well that you are about to meet your future spouse. Specifically too when there aren't any personal planets in retrograde, okay? Because the outer planets tend to affect people more on like a large scale, like on a population scale versus like the individual, okay? So the personal planets are Mercury, which tends to go in retrograde, 3-4 times a year. And actually, there's going to be a can I say that word? OMG. There's going to be a retrograde in April. Venus, I believe, just finished retrograde or will be finishing retrograde. Mars goes retrograde like every 2 years, and that already happened in December of starting I think October of 2022 into the beginning part of January 2023. So that's not going to happen again for a couple years. And am I missing any? No, I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So just pay attention to those. When those are not in retrograde, when they're all moving direct, that's also going to be an auspicious time. Wow, never thought I'd say that word. For you to be meeting your future spouse. So that will be a clue as to timelines or time frames. So you can look up that information on like a Google search to see like when the planets are no longer in retrograde or when their retrograde periods are. So you kind of can keep your eye out. Oh, wow, cool. Thanks, Spirit. Before I talk about these, I'm also looking at this food, and something just hit me now to pass on with a clue. Also, times of like a fair. So when it's like fair season, so when the weather's really nice and there's a lot of county fairs, city fairs, state fairs, like that type of thing, that's also going to be a great time for you that you're like about to meet your future spouse. And you might even meet them at one of these events. Yeah, so I'm getting that it's when like there's these special community events. So like some places have farmers market, for example, and some places has farmers market year round, but other places have farmers market only during certain seasons. Like there's this farmers market that used to be in the parking lot of a mall close by to where I used to live, and that was only, I want to say, in maybe June timeframe. That's the only time they did it. And then there was like a city that I used to work in where they would have in July like this fair every Tuesday or Thursday, something like that, in the waterfront. So like in the little pier area, that park by the pier. So it's something like that. Again, like county fair, state fair, one of those things. And again, you might even meet them at that event. So if you do enjoy those things, definitely go. So we have Queen of Swords, Seven of Coins, the Fool, Six of Wands, and Knight of Swords. Okay, so this is very, very interesting. y'all, because what I'm seeing here is that for a lot of you that were drawn to pile 3, you are going to be meeting your future spouse very, very soon upon viewing this reading, because the Knight of Swords is like one of the fastest knights. It's like literally the speed of a thought. Like as soon as you can think it, it happens. So I get the sense here that it's happening really, really soon for a lot of you, which is, congratulations. I'm super duper excited for many of you. That could be why we were talking about the retrogrades as well, because, a planet is about to go into retrograde in April. And so that period won't be the best time for meeting your future spouse. But you guys in particular, just not in general, but just this group in particular. I'm also seeing here too the Fool. So I know Disney's live action version of The Little Mermaid is about to be released. Yes, I know there's a lot of controversy over it. I'm personally quite excited that this movie will be coming out soon, because The Little Mermaid is one of my favorite Disney movies, and I love the soundtrack. So I'm super stoked about it. But I'm getting the sense too that around the time that The Little Mermaid Disney live action film is going to be released in the cinemas, and kind of while it's out in the cinemas before it goes to streaming services and gets put on DVD and stuff, that's going to be another clue that you're about to meet your future spouse. Like, it's that time frame there is like really close. So interesting, like in your reading in particular, I'm getting like blocks of time, versus in some of the other readings, I'm seeing more signs, like seeing things, occurrences happening that will lead them to knowing that they're about to meet their future spouse. Um, and so that's not quite the case for you, aside from like the butterfly and the bunny, right? So very, very interesting. I love it though. I love it. Now, the other thing that I'm noticing in your reading is these clouds on the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So what I'm seeing here is like a time of year, again, back to those time frames, a time of year where the sky isn't necessarily clear, nor is it fully cloudy. It's kind of like I'm seeing you all like at that time of the year where you look up into the clouds and you can see them moving. And you kind of play that game like, oh, what shape does that cloud remind you of? Like, oh, that cloud looks like an elephant. That cloud looks like a boat, right? That cloud looks like a spaceship. So it's when there are clouds in the sky, but not enough to make it a cloudy day and like completely block the sun, but enough where it's like you can see the clouds moving, or like the shadows shift and change as the clouds move overhead, but they're constantly shifting and changing. Wow, very, very interesting. That's almost like really specific. What else do we have here? I'm seeing here too with the 7 of Coins. This is making me think campfire. So when camping season is in full gear wherever you're at, so usually that's like the summertime, right? Also, I'm getting, for those of you that maybe aren't in areas where like there's a lot of camping grounds, so maybe a more urban area, this is symbolizing to me places that have either a fireplace or a fire pit even. So when you see places like that, or when you're at places like that, even like know that there's a high likelihood to meeting your future spouse, that there's a clue that you're about to meet them, or there's an opportunity being presented to you to cross paths with them here. So just be on alert there and kind of tune into what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're observing and noticing. Maybe it could be, you're enjoying a drink around at a fire pit, and then you get like a message from someone you matched with on a dating app. Do you know what I'm saying? Or you get a text message from someone you're seeing and dating, and it's like, oh, wow, interesting. Like, I remember watching this video, and now that lets me know this person is thinking of taking a relationship to the next level. Maybe they're going to propose soon, right? Something like that. Wow, oh my god, all the stuff that's being channeled through is like fascinating, because again, completely different flavor. The other thing I'm seeing here is koi fish. So this is beautiful, kind of falls in line with the butterfly and the bunny. So if you go places and you're seeing a lot of koi fish in either like an aquarium, in a pond, I know there was like in one of the shopping malls in Hawaii, there was like this in the food court, there's like this long strip of like water running across the food court. That had these koi fish swimming. It's kind of like a lazy pool for koi fish kind of thing. And they would just swim and circle around in this sort of like river thing. Um, that was in a loop. So seeing these animals, and like just yesterday, at the time I'm recording this video, I went with my friends to look at these nurseries and greenhouses for like flowers and plants for my friend's house. And it's so crazy because I didn't know that they would have. Sorry, my alarm went off. And so it like cut off the recording. But as I was saying, I didn't realize that these greenhouses and nurseries had like koi ponds like out in the front. And so it's really cool to kind of see them, especially because it's kind of cold now. But so koi will be another sign for you. Now, what I'm hearing too with the koi though is like you might even see it on like shirt or artwork, like paintings or something like that. So whenever you start seeing those, know that that's a clue you're about to meet your future spouse as well. Now, what about the Six of Wands? I'm getting like warrior queen vibes from this, and also from here, which is so interesting. Um, and recently on Netflix, like the Warrior King was released, or was it Warrior Queen? Oh, the movie, it was, I think it has Viola Davis in it. It was just released onto Netflix to be streamed. And I was like, oh, I remember when that was being advertised. Um, so it could have something to do with that when you're noticing a lot of like powerful female figures appearing in your life, that is like a very odd sign to me. I wasn't expecting it. But like stories of warriors, like I'm hearing, like Okoye from Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, and also like Mulan, right? When you're hearing references or seeing references to like women who are fierce warriors, whether literally in battle, like these two powerful females here, or just warriors of their profession, right? Like politicians who are strong warriors and advocates for certain causes, religious leaders, maybe entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, like on Shark Tank, right? There's some female sharks in the show Shark Tank about investing money into other people's businesses and stuff. So I'm really seeing too, like when that type of person enters your life, or you like happen to see a news article or a documentary series about them, or some type of feature, whether it's in print or video format on that person, like you are getting closer to meeting your future spouse. Wow, that was a very specific and a very like kind of random sign and clue, don't you think? Well, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some good ideas for some of these signs that you will be receiving here, loves. Um, if you need a little bit more personalized guidance, though, I'm here for you. Just look at the description box down below to find out how you can request a personal reading. But to wrap this up, thank you all so very much for all your love and support you show this channel by watching the videos, liking, sharing the content, commenting down below, letting the ads run. All of those things go such a long way to growing the channel. So thank you so much for that. Remember, it's never too late for your happily ever after. Take care, loves.